Well, I think you two have probably helped Finn Wittrock in the race now to play Patrick Bateman in the upcoming American Psycho.
We keep hearing that.
I've heard some of that. I've heard some of that chatter. Like, cast him. He's great. That's not gonna.
He's awesome. He's awesome. Hey, Daniel.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Good. Good.
Whereabouts in the world are you two?
Los Angeles,
Los Angeles. Yeah.
Okay, so what time's that there?
1 p.m.
Yeah. Not too bad for us, but for you, it must be getting late.
This is always my biggest fear is when I do these Zooms, I'm like, I've woken someone up at 3 in the morning for this.
Oh no, 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 no. We're good.
Okay, good.
Uh-huh.
I suppose I've got to congratulate you guys because being in Netflix's top 10 in like 90 countries or whatever is wild. How have you two celebrated that?
It is wild. Just I don't know. I mean, we're just taking it all in. Brian and I've, been wanting to do this or been doing this for pretty much our entire life. So it's like to get your movie, as a filmmaker, the ultimate is to have people watch your movie. So we're just very pleased that it's found an audience. Obviously, Netflix has a massive subscriber base, and it's just great that people are getting to see the movie and seem to be responding to it. So,
did you guys have like a little watch party?
We had a big watch party actually because we flew because we're originally from Minnesota, so we live in Los Angeles now. What we did was we flew back home and had a friends and family screening at a local film festival. The Twin City Film Festival is run by a friend, Jayden Satia, and they just so happened that the festival was running while our film was premiering. So Netflix allowed us to screen it that night on the big screen with people. We had classmates that we've known since sixth grade. We had old teachers there. We just had friends and family. It was pretty remarkable. So that was our watch party. The night it went into the world, we were watching it back home, which was pretty remarkable.
I wouldn't stop having watch parties if I were you two. I'd have one every day.
Please do continue to do so.
I would, but like I kind of want to expense you for like the underwear I soiled while watching this. I was not ready. Like I was uncomfortable. I was tense, and I could only imagine working with Sam Raimi. Like he must have helped create that tension because I mean, you guys have obviously worked with him on 50 States of Fright, wasn't it?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
There must be a good reason why you guys collaborate with him. Like, how is it working with Sam?
It's amazing. I mean, he's an idol of ours. Watched his movies growing up. And to be able to work with him, the thing we've taken from it is his enthusiasm. Obviously, he knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for decades at the top of the game, so he's a horror master. But the enthusiasm he has for making movies, it just oozes out of him. So, it's great to see somebody like that. I mean, because the film industry it's hard to get movies made. It's just hard to get movies made and seen, and it can beat you down a little bit. So to see him just be so excited for us and dropping little tidbits of thoughts on this and that, and just being there as a cheerleader and a supporter has been, like Brian says, pinch me stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, he's obviously someone we grew up watching, but he's become a partner and a friend and a mentor. And the greatest gift he gives you is allowing you to make your movie because no one could make a Sam movie. Only Sam can do that. And so he doesn't hold you up to the standard of making the film that he would make or the way that he would tell it. And so that was really refreshing and a gift to us because this is a thriller, and he's done thrillers. The Gift I would consider a thriller. We love A Simple Plan. What a heartbreaking film that is, and a brilliant film. And so, but I think most people associate him with a very frenetic camera. Just it's all over the place. It really matches the energy that he has as a person. You know what I mean? Like his enthusiasm. When you see his films, you go, okay, it's pouring out of him, and that's how he tells his stories. And for us, this was a film that to your point, it was a comfortable watch for you. We wanted this to be the kind of film that you're gripping, your friend's hand, your partner's hand, your seat. And that's not I think that in some ways, the way we approached it was a little bit, it's kind of counterintuitive to the way most people might do a thriller, where they may have a very frenetic camera that's all over the place. But we said, no, because this has to live in these still moments, the uncomfortable moments where you're experiencing the film the way she's experiencing it. So it's frenetic and active when she's trying to flee. And then it's a locked camera and still when she's still. And so he and all the team, his partner, Zainab Azizi, who found this script and championed it. She was the first champion of what would become many. But they allowed us to take that approach, which is not a guaranteed recipe for success. Yeah, you just never know. You never know. So thankfully it's worked off. It's worked well, I think, beyond anything we ever imagined.
You said it there, you called it a pinch me moment. There must have been a point where, I don't know, Sam read a script or he saw a cut of the film and went, yeah, you know what? I like that. And then how do you two react to that? Do you play it cool? Yeah, Sam, whatever. It's what we do.
I mean, he was with us the entire process. So, he was there on set with us for a portion of the shoot, offering support and advice and things. But yeah, when we turned in our director's cut, he was very enthusiastic about it. He was like, oh, this is working. This worked. And again, it's just that trust. Him as a producer, we've spoken to him about it and we've heard him speak about, himself as a producer. And it's basically just him as a producer is giving us the opportunity to follow our vision and him to support that vision. And he had done that the entire process. And then when we handed in the director's cut and he watched it, he said it's working. What you guys, your vision is working. And then let's go in there and tighten the bolts down a little bit and, make tweaks in here and there. But I think just him seeing it for the first time just confirmed what I think he already kind of knew, which was that this feels like it's going to work.
We were sitting behind him in our director's cut. So it was he, all the other producers, and Adam and I were looking at each other. You could hear someone talking up front. It's not a big theater. So I'm like, I don't know who that is, but someone's talking up there. But I'm like, who are they talking to? Are they talking on the phone? You can't tell. And then you get out of the film. But a couple times I'm looking up and I'm seeing someone just kind of, they're throwing the punch with the person. They're taking the punch with the person. They're having it's almost like they're on a ride. And I think later afterwards we realized, oh, that was Sam. He was watching the movie like he was on a roller coaster. He was squirming when he needed to. He was covering his eyes when he needed to. It's so genuine. That's the way he lives his life. He is a very genuine, excitable, energetic person, and that's how he took the film in. So when he turned around to us in the movie, the lights come up, he turned around and had this look on his face like, okay, we've got something we can work with. And I think that obviously was like, we looked at each other like, wow, that just happened. But I think it was not just that. It was afterwards, we hung out in the lobby. We all were talking about what Next Steps looks like, but he was so excited about the possibilities of what the film could be. And he kept saying it over and over again. And it just felt very genuine. And, when you're making your director's cut, you've got 10 weeks with your editor. And that's all. And, and you show it to friends here and there, but you just don't know.
You make your cut of the movie with no notes from anybody other than Brian and I and our editor making choices.
And we thought it was working, but you just don't know. You just don't know.
I'm also glad you two kept quiet during that screening, because if you said, oi, mate, stop talking during our film, this could have gone completely differently.
We should have, we would have called the staff to have them removed.
But I also want to shout out Kelsey too, because her performance is brilliant in this. She made me very, very uneasy. What was your audition process like to find your iris? Is it just a case of come in, don't move, yep, call your cast?
If that's the case, everyone would have got the job.
Yeah. No, she read the script. She was interested in it. Brian and I and Sam all met with her via a Zoom. She doesn't live in Los Angeles. So our casting process is mainly, we just go by our gut instinct. So as soon as we met with her and we started talking about the character of Iris, we were like, she's Iris. We just felt like she was Iris. It's hard to explain. It's just kind of like a visceral kind of she is Iris. She's a brilliant actor. She is empathetic.
and then trust
that
we're gonna make her look good and tell a coherent, not deceleration, but like that it will all track, right? Because that's the thing. Like you're shooting this film over the course of a number of weeks and largely in order, but for the moments that aren't, you have to go, where was I in that scene? Okay, I could do this. Great. So now the progression of that looks like this, or the regression of that looks like this. So I don't watch the film often. I usually take breaks away, but every time I do kind of pop in and see, I'm looking at Kelsey, I'm like looking at her in the truck or looking at her in the grass. And I'm always thinking back to what it looked like on the day when we were filming it and we were like, all right, and go. And it's just Kelsey. And cut. And it's just thinking like, all right, in that moment, oh, I saw an eyebrow twinge. That's it. That's all we have. That's all we need. So things like that. It's fun to think back on what that looked like, to put together, and that it came together with the help of our editor, Josh Ethier. It was fun to put it together and go, oh, this is working. This is tracking.
Well, you said there, like with the eyebrow twinge, obviously with this, with you guys being the director, you get to be very creative with this. So where did you teeter on like the realism, the sort of scientific aspect of paralysis versus like using your creative license to make it more of an entertaining thriller?
Yeah, it's always a give or take. I mean, Kelsey met with a friend of ours who's an anesthesiologist, and we spent a lot of time talking about what this type of drug, what it would do, what it would feel like. We take a couple of creative liberties, but for the most part, it is a real thing, or it was a real thing. And then you just take creative liberties and you just try to not stretch it enough. You try to keep it based, excuse me, in as much realism as possible, as not to take the audience out of it. But also knowing full well that this is a movie and it is a ride and it is a genre exercise, and making sure that you're able to kind of like stretch those moments and be there. And that's where the movie lies, in those moments. So, if she's not paralyzed, and you don't have a movie. So, it's the fun of that. It's the give and take and fun of that. And again, like Brian was talking about with our editor, Josh Ethier, like that was a fun of like, how long can we stay in these moments? How long is it pushing it too long? When does the audience maybe get restless, or when they won't, and just trying to figure out the pacing of that.
There's also less forgiveness in films that are more grounded, right? Because sometimes a film can feel a bit more heightened and you're just willing to go with it a bit more. But the stuff that we tend to respond to, and thus far the stuff we've made, with exception of our 50 States episode, which is very, kind of outlandish and in the Peter Jackson, Sam Raimi world, this is pretty grounded. And I think you have a really small target to hit in terms of people either buying into it or not buying into it. And I think that's always something we're very aware of when we're making anything, because that's how we are as viewers. I think viewers are smart and they want to go on a ride with you. You just have to give them every opportunity to do so. And so I think the script already was pretty well, I think it did what it needed to do. And I think the help of our friend was able to kind of dial a few things in.
I think you're so right about it being grounded as well, because I mean, just look at Finn's Richard. Like he's really scary and sort of really haunting because he's human. Like he has flaws. Do you think that's what makes him such a terrifying antagonist, that he's not this all-powerful murderous entity?
Yeah, the fun of it was watching him put on different masks. And a friend of ours said something like, I love that he's a serial killer that's having the worst day possible. Kind of like, and it's kind of is that. That was the fun for us, is to find an antagonist that matches the Iris character and her arc, and then watch him try to, for a large portion of this film, he's got to carry the narrative, a bit, and verbally. And it's fun to watch him within a scene have to play 3 different characters, to try to figure a way to get it. That was very interesting to us and felt like it could be very propulsive in the way that to move the movie forward. And Finn is a master at that.
If he was perfect and great at everything, this would be a short film. And I think so for us. I mean, one of the big inspirations for this was the original Vanishing, Spoorloos. I think came out in the late '80s. There's the American remake, and then there's the original film, which might be Flemish. Is it Dutch? It's a brilliant film. It's almost a bloodless horror film, but it's well done, and it has a very unique antagonist. And so a lot of what we did with him was inspired by that, just because we found him to be engaging and interesting, even though he's despicable and chilling. And so we thought, we need a character like this, and that character was also very, very flawed and good, but not great at what he did. I mean, that's where, to your point, the humanity of it is what's interesting. And were he a Terminator-style villain that, it makes every right decision and is impervious to anything, like that's just not very interesting to watch, and it's certainly not the sort of film that we wanted to make. So we've enjoyed that people have gone along with this version of a killer that we've presented.
Well, I think you two have probably helped Finn Wittrock in the race now to play Patrick Bateman in the upcoming American Psycho.
We keep hearing that.
I've heard some of that. I've heard some of that chatter. Like, cast him. He's great. That's not gonna...
He's awesome. He's awesome.
What qualities of Finn's do you think would make him so perfect to play Patrick?
The presentation, obviously. I mean, Finn's a good-looking guy. He's incredibly charming. He's really, really bright. He's got an edge to him, even when he's not trying to show an edge, right? So I think, you could do. He would. No pun intended. Or pun intended. He would kill in that role. He would do great. I don't. That would be an amazing pairing of actor and character, certainly.
I tell you what, I've always wanted someone to describe me like that. Handsome, charming. Oh. Guys, that's all I've got time for. So I'm going to say thank you so much for chatting to me today.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Also, thank you for upping the background game as well, because you two, your backdrops, I've done a lot of Zoom interviews. You two have done, the Terminator head right there.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to beat that.
Shout out to our friends at Sideshow for that. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Because most people just put curtains behind them. I'm like, I don't want that. I want your real nerdiness. So thank you for bringing your A game.
Well, I'm looking at your Leon the Professional. I'm looking at all that. That looks fantastic.
You know what really upsets me is that most of it's all mine, apart from the Leon posters, which are my wife's.
You had to call him out, Brian. Yeah, so she gets the points, not me. Fair.
She's got good taste.